Today I've travelled north to Daventry. I know that's Midlands, but when you live in the West Country, everywhere is north. And behind me is Wigeon Lake at Dog Lane Fishery, where I'm going to be for the next 24 hours. I've just realised how countryfile this scene now looks. I've travelled all the way up to Daventry to fish on a venue I've never been to before. That's enough of that anyway, but I think I'd be quite good at that. Who knows? Anyway, the reason I'm here is because I did a giveaway on one of my videos a few weeks ago, which was the Go Outdoors cheap tackle review of 2 rods, 2 reels, and hooking mat and landing net. And in that video, all of that was up for grabs. All you had to do was comment on the video, like and subscribe, loads of entries, and the winner ended up being a guy called Trevor who lived in Daventry. So rather than putting it in the post, which one costs an arm and a leg when you try and post rods, I thought, why don't I deliver it in person and find somewhere to fish up there? So as I'm not from Daventry, as you can hear, I thought I'd find out any venues that are nearby to where he lives. So I put it into the catch app, found this place, which is only about 15 minutes from where he lives, and thought that looks ideal. So put myself on here and travelled up. Now what you're about to see is me dropping? Let's try that again. So what you're about to see is me dropping off the winnings in person. But before we get on to handing over the goodies, a quick mention about the sponsor of today's video. The sponsor of today's video comes in rather handy because if you open up your Play Store or App Store, wherever you get your games from, and download Fishing Clash, that might just be what you need to give yourself that fishing fix whilst you're at home. The best way I can describe the game is like having a whole tackle shop and every species you can think of right here on your phone. And you can travel the world in the game, from rivers to deep seas, chasing carp and pike to tuna and marlin. Doesn't matter what you can think of, it's probably in the game. Basically everything you think about as an angler, whether you're waiting for a bite like I am right now, or sat on the sofa at home whilst your missus is watching Love Island. Did some of you just say you watch Love Island as well? Shame on you. I'm more a bake-off man. And what I really like about the game is not just a case of chucking your rod in the water and hope for the best, a bit like I am today, but you progress throughout the game, whether you're upgrading your rods, your reels, your lures, it all makes a difference to the gameplay. And you can actively compete online, so if you want that competitive element to your game, you can get that without having to leave your sofa. And the graphics are really good too, so it's as close to feeling like you're there on a boat bringing in a massive fish without actually doing it. Although I have. So if you fancy giving Fishing Clash a go, you can download it for free on Android and iOS by either scanning the QR code you can see on your screen right there, or clicking the link in the description and pinned comment. And also, use code NothingButFishing in the game for a free $20 reward bonus to get your fishing fix whilst you're still sat on the sofa. Thanks Fishing Clash for supporting the channel and this video. Now, let's try and catch a real one, shall we?
Hello.
Good morning.
How are you? All right?
Right. Sorry for the surprise and getting you out of bed. But I thought I'd deliver it off in person.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
So, you got the... Oh. I'll buy another one because I just broke one in the car. I'll get another one sent. There's the 2 reels.
Thank you.
And hooking mat.
Amazing.
Oh, landing net. You say this is going to go for your son?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Nice.
Just gone off for uni, but yeah, this is perfect for him. That's amazing.
Right, there you go.
That is amazing. Thank you so much.
So I know I should have probably checked before, but I thought I'll try and surprise him just in case. It was a bit of a risk. Then when your wife answers, she's like, he works nights and he's asleep. I was like, oh, I probably should have called.
Worth waking up for.
Yeah,
no. It's not a problem.
Right, well, I'll let you get back to sleep. Apologies for waking you up. Thanks for
so
supporting the channel and getting involved
really
in the giveaway.
Appreciate it.
If you don't mind, I've got a little bit of footage of me giving it away.
Not at all.
It's going to go in this main video.
Of course.
But yeah, I think your wife would chance at all. It's just like, can I help you? I understand a strange man at the door with a camera on. But no, I appreciate it. Anyway, yeah, have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Go back to bed. And I'm off fishing. And that brings you up to speed when we're back at the lake. Now, as I just mentioned, I did accidentally break one of the tips in the car. I did hear a crack when I shut the boot and thought, hopefully that wasn't the rod. It was. I've already ordered a replacement and that should be on his doorstep potentially before I even leave this place tomorrow. So rest assured, I have sorted that problem. So 2 working rods will be with him by end of play tomorrow. I've just completed my first lap of the lake looking for fish, and because I'm only here until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's a 10 AM to 10 AM booking system on here. There's some more anglers coming on tomorrow. I've actually already wasted the first hour. I say wasted, I've used the first hour walking around. It's a small lake, I think, from what it says on the sign. It's only just over an acre and a half, something like that. Should be a good stocking. Fish are over £30, and I've already seen some fish. That's the main reason for doing the walk around. Always do it on a venue, and when it's small venues like this, you can do a lap quite quickly, which is nice. One big bosh right in the centre of the lake, no features around it. and the rest at the very other end of the lake I've seen loads of fizzing and bubbling. So my plan of attack today is, rather than get everything out of the car, into a swim, set up, I'm going to travel as if I'm treating this as a day session. Just travel light, maybe bring a chair if I'm feeling like I need a bit of luxury. And then we're just going to flick rods around, find feeding fish, move around, watch the water, see where they seem to be before setting up camp later on today. Of course, that plan, it could fluctuate, it could change, but that's the initial plan. And also, I want to say thank you to all the kind responses to a video a few weeks ago where I did a POV style carp fishing session where it was just using my phone and my action cam, and that you guys still really enjoyed it. Because carrying heavy camera gear around can get a little bit tiresome. I do enjoy doing it, but you guys seem to still really enjoy the video, which is awesome to hear, and some really nice comments as well that you watch these videos from me, strangely enough, and not so much the camera shots that I'm getting. Although I like to pride myself on making the best quality possible, best content possible, it's nice to know that if I do fancy a bit more of a low-key session, you guys will still enjoy it. That being said, this piece of camera is getting a little bit long. Put the camera back on the tripod because it's heavy, like so. I'm going to go grab the bare minimum from the car and travel around fairly light and see if we nick a bite early on. I always say that and very rarely do, but maybe today's the day. One thing I have done before this session is pre-soak my boilies. So I've got cell and essential cell in here, and as you can see, they have soaked up loads of moisture. They've gone really soft and they stink to high heaven. So really strong baits already, but I soak these in boiling water and smart liquid. I know I've had comments before saying, well, that will activate the smart liquid. Yes, but I think it's still doing the job, and that means that all these boilies have rehydrated themselves with a high attraction. But what I'm going to do now to stop them from soaking up anymore is, I know it seems a bit wasteful, is pour out the remaining liquid. Which, oh, it smells so good, but I want to get rid of that. Of course, if you've got ground bait or like a pellet mix or something, you can pour it into there, of which I don't have, so it seems like a bit of a waste, but I don't want them to keep soaking. They're soft enough as they are. There we go. And then just add a bit of fresh stuff on top. I mean, that's the colour it went in, and look how much yellow the liquid is. So it just shows how much the essential cell is sort of bled into that liquid. That'll do for now. I'll top it up as I go through the bucket. That not only preserves it, but makes these super, super attractive. And hopefully, putting that in a few different areas later on, we'll get some fish feeding around and we'll get a bite. Kit is ready to go. Time to switch over to this one so that we can travel a bit lighter and quicker. Let's go. Rods, net, tripod, all in the unhooking mat. I say travel light, that's still blooming heavy. And camera bag. Let's go. So this place is reminding me heavily of Forest Lake Fishery. Is it Forest Fishery? I've forgotten the actual name of it. The one in Forest of Dean, which I fished right at the end of last year. It was my last carp session of the year. Small, intimate venue. Weather was horrendous, so my bivvy blew over, for those of you that remember. And I had a really good session though, and that video I think was titled How I Approach a Brand New Venue. And I'm doing exactly the same on this trip. Whether I'll be as successful, I don't know, because on that trip I caught the Lake's big one, my personal best mirror, 42 pounds something I think it was, but miserable weather. It's Hurricane Doris or something, not hurricane, you know what I mean, Storm Doris. But yeah, mega session. This place gives me similar sort of vibes because it's small, intimate, it's obviously fenced off, good stock, and hopefully we can get amongst them. Any fish is always a bonus. If we can get amongst some of the 20s or even the 30, that'll be an awesome trip. I'll probably get my go-to semi-stiff hair rig, set up little mesh bags, because I don't know what the bottom is like. From what I've read online, I think it's pretty clean, but when I come to somewhere where I don't fully know yet, I'll start with my go anywhere rig and see how we get on. Let's look for some bubbles. Whew. Not exactly travelling light when your arms feel like an octopus, but this is where I saw some fish to start with, feeding up, so hopefully they're still here. Yes, just there we got some bubbles. few more. Let's get a rod. As always, net first. Now, I uploaded a reel the other day of me doing some PVA bag prep, and what I didn't realise is how many people wanted me to do a slower tutorial on how I make my mesh bags, because I did it quite quickly. It's just how I've always done. Muscle memory, it's quite quick. So pat it down nice and compact like so, and then I make a big loop like so, pinch, put the bag through, and then you hold that loop that you've just used to pull it down tight against the mesh bag, really tight like that, hold it in position, pull tight, and then you have your second loop keeping you in a nice tight compact little mesh bag. So again, if that's too quick, I'll do it again. Start like so. So I've got the one knot that's holding my bag. I want to tie the next loop, or the next knot, sorry, so ready for the next mesh bag. Round my hand, tuck the bag through, pull down tight. There we have very little wastage, just a little bit in between, so I can cut that with the scissors. And as you can see, that's now ready for the next mesh bag. Trim that down. There we have a mesh bag ready. So really quick again. Pellet in. You have got the plunger tool for when you're doing like stick mixes and stuff, but to be honest, just shake it out loose, pat it down like so, spin round, pull tight, caught my finger, trying to do it too quick. And there we have two mesh bags, identical in size, nice and compact. And then when I add that to my hook bait, again I showed this on the last video, just to make sure that that's nice and tight and holds in place on the bag, hook through, just a few bits of the mesh and twist. You'll find that tauts up the bag a bit, but also grips onto the shank of the hook. Go through one more time, so that holds the hook nicely in position. The hair's trapped with that little bit of silicone I got on the hair. Nothing can really tangle, and you've got a nice little presentation. And my usual setup, running lead clip, so very, very rarely lose the lead. Just enough friction on the take, bit of tubing, and we're good to go. Now, hopefully, in the few minutes it's taken to get that ready, the fish are still there feeding. We can get this in position nice and quietly. I didn't bring my baiting spoon, which would have been ideal. Forgot it more than anything. And also didn't bring any of my washing line set up. Again, for this sort of venue, would have been ideal, but hey ho, not everyone's got those, so we're going with this fishing, this session with minimal kit. There's a few bubbles coming up there. In fact, one last thing I'm going to do to add attraction is I have got the smart cell dip, just to put the rig in. Which doesn't look the most appetizing, you can see, but it's designed to stick to the bait. It'll work for you. Perfect. And we've got a few fish over there. I want to be as delicate as possible. So usual tactic of going just beyond them and pulling the rig back. But there's some bubbles coming up here. Nice. Just getting the second rig ready, and this one we're going to go with yellow wafter. Just see if we can find what the fish are after. Obviously I'm hoping for more than one bite, but we'll start with one. And if we start getting multiple and it's on one colour, then of course I'll switch over to the same colour on each. But for now, putting two different colours out of similar baits, similar setup, well, exactly the same setup, same mesh bag and everything. We'll get a bit more of an idea. That was close, but at least it's barbless venue, if that had gone in my hand. At least then we'll get a bit more of an idea of what the fish are after. And now we wait. Left rod went out 11:25, right rod 11:35. We'll give it at least half an hour here and keep watching the water. Of course, whilst we wait, I'm watching the water for any signs of fish activity, because when I did my first lap of the lake earlier, there were clear signs that the fish were feeding right here. But since fishing here and when I got into the swim, there wasn't as much bubbling. They weren't feeding with as much gusto. I still... Bosh! There we are. First sign of a fish. Let's act on it. Mesh bag. It wasn't a big fish, but it's the first sign. Within 10 seconds of it rolling. I need to get a rod over there, and that's not far from where I saw some fish roll earlier. Little flick to where I just heard that roll. Perfect. Ooh, quite a bit deeper, but a solid drop. So that's now fishing exactly where fish rolled all of 60 seconds ago. And that's what I'm just going to keep on doing all day. Act upon signs of fish. And honestly, that's the first show I've seen since that roll when I first got in the car park a couple of hours ago. So hopefully, where there's one rolling, there's more below. And just like that, my confidence is back up, because this morning this swim was alive with bubbles. By the time I got here to put the rods out, less so. And since I've been fishing, I've seen next to nothing. And then thankfully a fish clatters out to my right. So rod in, new mesh bag on, cast out. In the space of 60 seconds of seeing that fish show, I was fishing on top of it. So that shows how important it is to be ready with pre-tied mesh bags and stuff like that. Get yourself fishing quickly, and hopefully where there's one, there's more than one. And that's how the rest of the session is going to play out. I'm going to keep on watching the water, look for signs of feeding, bubbles, shows like that, and acting accordingly. And hopefully being proactive will be what results in a fish. And today is obviously going to be quite mobile. This evening we'll set up camp somewhere, and then if I wake up in the morning and they're moving around, we'll get on our feet once again. Just flip the camera on a second, I'll bring the rods in, take a leading rod and some bait around the lake, lead about in the margins, find some likely looking spots and put some bait in. But while stood here and watching, a few bubbles have just come up over the left hand rod. So, and again, a cluster just came up then. Ooh, we got some fish on the left hand rod now. So I've been fishing for about an hour and a half, which isn't that long. I've had another fish show to the right where that right hand rod is. I do think there's fish here, but I also want to have a bit of an explore, see if there's any signs of fish elsewhere. But whilst I'm seeing active feeding, it's not like really intense bubbles, but they're moving, and that's the best thing. It's not like a trapped air pocket. The bubbles are moving, because sometimes you can see bubbles and convince yourself it's fish. But if it keeps on coming up on the same spot, often it's just natural gases coming up. But these are quite small bubbles, but they're moving, which shows me that there's fish in the area and they're moving around. So I'm going to give it a little bit longer, and if nothing happens by, let's give ourselves a cut-off point. I'm getting hungry. It's 1:05 now. If we go to a 1:30 and nothing's happened, that would have been 2 hours in this spot. Bring the rods in. I'm going to do what I've just said I'm going to do. Have some food because I'm starving. Come back and see if we can find any of the spots that I may have put some bait in if they're actively feeding, and work from that way. Because yes, there's always a chance of a bite in a swim, but if you're just sitting there and hoping, is that always the best option? I don't know. So yeah, give it a little bit longer now. There's bubbling there. I'll work from here. Nothing's happening. I've been up here with this nice vantage point up the bank watching the water. The spots I've been fishing aren't bubbling. There's been 2 shows since I've been in this swim, both on the right, but nothing's happened. So I'm going to bring the rods in, go around with just a lead on one rod. Oh, we got a bite. Nothing there. I had a line bite as I was looking at the rods. Unless I've just got done. No. Tubing's ever so slightly moved, but that could have been on the cast. The lead's still in the swivel. Look at that, that lead is completely covered in clay. I'm not sure what happened there. I don't think it was a bite, it was just really slowly pulled round. I think it could have been a line bite. We will never know. But that's the first sign of any activity. Yeah, the lead is still in the swivel is still in the lead, so I don't think that was a bite, because that should have happened. I think we had a line bite there. Cool. Signs though. Anyway, what I was about to say is I'm going to bring the rods in anyway. Have a little walk around the lake with just a lead on the end. Plop around in the margins, put some bait in a few spots. Go have some food. Come back and see if we've got any feeding in any of the spots we put the bait in. And hopefully this afternoon will be a bit more productive. So let's leave that there. Oh, I hit a fish. So if you've never experienced hitting a fish on the drop before, basically it's pretty simple. It feels like you've hit the bottom, like a bit of a judder, and then the lead will fall a bit more. So the fish is kind of feels like you've hit the lake bed, but then it drops it more, telling you you've hit something between the surface and the lake bed. And that was 100% hitting a fish on the way down, because I just landed beyond the tree, fell, then dunk, and then dunk as it fell. Let's just feel what it feels like over there. Much the same. Oh, little bit more feedback on the tip there. So I would say when you look at venues like this, there's obvious features people are going to fish to. Hanging willow there, hanging tree there, hanging tree there, the aerator. The opposite bank, there's no swim, so a lot of people are going to fish opposite. And although you can try and be different and fish on other places, those are areas where bait is regularly seen. Fish start to get used to knowing there's food there. So although it can be somewhere they're a bit more cautious of, it's also somewhere they expect to see bait. So let's just have another cast by that tree. Yeah, nice drop just in front of that willow. And as expected, it's clean as well. So we know that willow's clean. I've just hit a fish beyond it, so there could be stuff in that bay. Let's have a little cast out mid-water in this swim as well. Quite smooth. Oh yeah, oh that's clean. So, just off the aerator, as you'd expect, let's let a bit of line off again. Hit the clip over there. Let's just try that again, but just pulling back near the aerator. Obviously where that's churning, it's going to be cleaning the bottom. It's keeping the bottom clean of any debris that's landed. So it's going to be basically a polished dinner plate for them. And this oxygenated water, that's going to be quite a prominent feature. But let's just try that again. I'm not sure how deep it was. Donk. Oh, super clean. Yep. So I'm going to go and check the depth in person. Like, I'm going to go around to the other side and check the depth of that margin. But from that, it feels super clean. And I can actually see a little U shape in the vegetation on the bank where people have clearly walked to the edge and baited up. So it's an obvious spot from this swim. It's directly opposite. It's an easy enough cast. And that lead has come back covered in clay. So I know it's clean over there. We'll have one more cast. Lovely. Look at that. The lead is just covered in clay. So if you want a clean spot, well, that's the one. Just gone 2 o'clock and I've used the last half an hour to fine tune where I'm going to fish for the afternoon. Like I said, the aerator area is just polished clean. Whether that's from the aerator churning up the water or fish feeding on the area or a combination of the two, whatever it is, it's damn clear. So I'm going to put some bait there, let it around, and I'm not going to fish too close to the margin because it's actually quite shallow. About a rod length or so off, it gets a nice depth and it just cracks down like the floor that I'm stamping on right here. So that seems to be where I'm going to fish. I've worked my way along, put bait in a few likely looking spots, and because the wind's been pushing down here the last couple of hours, I thought let's just check in this top corner right by the car park. And sure enough, loads of bubbling, or like remnants of where fish have been feeding quite heavily. You know, when it's all bunched up and pushed into the corner in those little arcs of bubbles. It was clear fish had been feeding there, so I was just watching the water, the odd little bubble here and there, and then a fish rolled. So where there's one, like I said earlier, there's often more than one. Put a bit of bait in there, and I'm now going to leave the swim for however long it takes me to recharge my batteries, personal batteries that is. I need some food, I'm absolutely starving. Then I'm going to go back and work my way back around the opposite way I've just done, check all the spots I put bait in. But the likelihood is where that fish has just rolled is where I'm going to start the afternoon and treat this afternoon as the next part of the session, segment this whole trip, and then this evening we'll choose where to go. But taking it each step at a time and looking for each opportunity and working on it. After some food and a lap round the lake, it was clear the fish was still in the little bay by the car park, so naturally that was where I was going to start the afternoon. Despite the fact there were clearly fish in this bay, to the point they were rolling directly above my rigs, I just could not get a bite. I spent far too much time in this bay, to the point that the sun started to set and I had to make a move if I was to get set up and fishing before the light completely went. Oh no, I left my bucket open. Whew. Thought you'd eaten me dry. You pooed in my rod bag. You dirty. That's a fresh one as well. Chilling in my swim all day and then you do that. First things first, I need to clip one rod up to over there, just to the left of the aerator. The other one I'm just going to stick out of mid-water here where I've seen several fish roll today. And the last one, I might try and get it back down in the bay where I've just been fishing, because there's still some fish down there. It'd be silly not to keep a rod down there. So cast out. Let's hit the clip there. Take it out. To that there. Lovely. I still want to fish that bay, but it's a long old way to be fishing, so I use the wash and line method, and I've just rigged up my poor man's version. All you really need is some form of friction the other end. Now I've normally got a dedicated wash and line clip, but I have done a whole video on how to set this up. It's just a bit of braid attached to a bag stick, which is going to be nice and elevated off the ground. As you can see, it's a tall old storm pole, it's actually off the bivvy. I've then attached a lead clip, and then the tail rubber, you'll sort of pass the loop of your line through this and then use the friction to hold it in place. Little blade of grass or something to hold it in. So all that is doing is a bit of friction to keep the line there, no different to any other kind of wash and line clip. When you get a take, it pulls out of there and you're in. That way I haven't got line going all the way across the lake in the water. It's going to go across the water and then to the post over there, then down into the bay at the other end. So rather than have my line cutting all the way through this bay, there'll be no line, and then they'll come in and hopefully feed a bit more freely, knowing that there's no line pressure, and I'll get a bite on this. So I'm going to go set this up. The sun has now set, so I'm going to start losing light quickly. So let's cast this lead over to the far bank, and then we'll have to go around, set up the bank stick, so we're ready to fish washing line. Perfect, it's on the far bank. Now for the awkward bit, we'll check this rig in position, make sure I don't get tangled, and don't let go of the line, the wrong end anyway. There we go. Perfect. So all that happens now is when a fish bolts, which will go that way, it will because it's only there. We pull out this clip, I get a drop back the other end, and I'm into a fish. So I'm fishing here as if I'm in the margin, but actually I'm all the way over there. Of course, I'm on the lake by myself, so I can do this, but it's an awesome method. I can see it's bubbling here actually, so fingers crossed that does something. So we've got a little 3-bait stringer, which I then thread onto the rig, and you'll notice I've changed my rig now. The one I was using today was because I didn't really know what the bottom was like, but now I've found some clear spots. I'm going to be using my clear bottom presentation, which is a trimmed down bottom bait with a little quad on top, and that sits flat like so, but it's a Gemini Tidy Boom, 5.5 inch one onto a Ronnie spinner thing, but I've got this supple D loop, so there's a bit more bait separation from the hook, and it just resets nicely. So this is something I have a bit more confidence in leaving out overnight. I will just add one more thing, which is the shot on the hook, something that seems to have already started to die down in the angling world, but something I still use, especially on this rig. Although it's getting pretty dark now, can I do it? Bosh, first time. That just helps to turn the hook in. And then we have a little 3-bait stringer on my clear bottom presentation. That's going on the middle rod. Donk. Perfect. I'm going to scatter some buoys over that with the catapult as well. But I need to get the other rod out first before I completely lose the light. 2 out. Alright, let's see if I can get this out first time. That camera makes it look a lot lighter than it is. I can assure you, the far bank is almost completely black. But that's why I've clipped up in the daylight, so that it should cast in the right direction, go in the right place. Come on, first time. Oh, a fish just rolled off the willow as well. It's looking good, looking good, looking good. Clip. Donk. Oh, Perfect. And we're fishing all 3 rods. Like I said, I'm going to fish this one pretty much a tight clutch because I don't need it to take line. I'm not really anywhere for it to go other than left, and that stretch in the mono will be enough. So a few beeps and this one should be on. All 3 fishing. Oh, it's getting chilly. Sun went down a long time ago. It's that gorgeous, gorgeous light now. And the time is 9:10. Whew. And I just saw a message from my wife saying, give me strength. So I'm guessing my daughter has been a little pickle. Time to do my husband duties. With the rods out, it was time to set up camp for the night. Cameras off and enjoy my steak. We got one. It's not going to be a blank. I've only got a couple of hours now until I've got to be on the road. And as you can see, since landing the fish and dealing with it, it's starting to get light. Not quite enough to film the fish, and it does say in the rules that you've got time to retain the fish until you've got all your camera kit ready. But I think with light levels at this stage, we can wait an extra 20 minutes until we've got a decent bit of light, because this fish, believe me, deserves to be seen in all of its glory. Oh, what a belter. We finally got a bit of decent light to film this fish. It's been resting for, like I said, about 45 minutes to an hour now. Bit more than what I know it states in the rules. But I think you'll agree when you see this fish. It was worth waiting to get some decent light. Oh, what a beauty. I mean, I've only ever saw this under head torch, and now seeing it in a bit of natural light. Quite simply stunning. Look at that, for an absolute cracker. Beautiful fish. Probably the most pristine zip linear I've ever caught. At 32 pounds 4 ounces. I want to keep him that way. And what a wake up call this one was. I've not been able to get any more rest. Just had a coffee, bit of breakfast whilst I waited. But let's try and get this one up again, because this is pooing out some bait as well. Just simply stunning. Get some stills in a second. But I'll show you the other side as well. I'll show you just how immaculate this fish is. And there's the other side. One of those fish you just want to keep on admiring because it's just so beautiful. It looks like it's going to be the only bite of the session. I'm going to start packing down once this one's back. Head on home. Take care of my little one because she's not feeling too well. God, what a way to start the day. Thank you, mister. Oh. As always, I've been holding out for one last bite, but it's not happened. The washing line rig, which put all that effort in, which is down there, didn't do anything. The middle rod, which is out in mid-water, has had some fish rolling on, and even this morning it's been bubbling, so I guess that could go off at any second. But the winning rod was the one over to the aerator. I've hung it all up there, more of a victory parade type thing, but it's not going to dry because it's one of those early autumnal mornings, excuse me with the camera angles, where it's just damp, cold, nothing's going to dry. That could be hung there all day, I don't think it's going to dry, but it looks good, doesn't it? So, time to pack down. I got a shoot on now. Unfortunately, my little one's not too well. She's sent home from the nursery. I think I mentioned that yesterday. It's all a bit of a blur. I didn't sleep that well last night because said aerator and having a fish before. Oh, just had a beep on the aerator rod. Don't know what that was. Anyway, it's probably nothing. Yeah, I need to pack up down, head on home, and enjoy a day with my daughter, who looked fine when I did a video call just then. I think nursery was just being precautious, but hey ho, it is what it is. Time to get on. And if it's a one bite session, I can't complain at that. What an absolute belter. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed the sort of mix between the two styles of filming with my main camera and a bit more vloggy. Oh, another beep. Some interest over there. And you had a bit of an insight into my session on a venue for less than 24 hours actually. So actual fishing wise was probably closer to 20, and I came away with a stunning 30 pounder. I would say that is a massive success. So like the video if you did, please, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. My goal is 50k by the end of the year, and I think as of this morning we've got about 800 odd to go, so we're very, very close, and I massively appreciate every single one of you that already subbed. But if you're watching this and you think, oh, I'm not subscribed, maybe click that button and help me out. But that is it. Time to stop waffling. I'll see you in the next one. And one final quick reminder to download Fishing Clash by using the links in the description and pinned comment. I'll see you in the next one.